Welcome back, guys. I am Kevin Muller, and this is another edition of 7 with Kevin, where I see everything that I missed and watch stuff that you may haven't seen. Figure I would do it a little different today. I would start from the best thing I saw, and basically go down the list to the absolute crap that I am going to talk about that we will discuss. Anyway, here we go. Jesse Eisenberg stars, directs, and writes this movie about two Jewish cousins honoring their late grandmother by visiting her hometown in Poland, which was also involved in the Holocaust. So you get some history on the Holocaust, but it's mainly about these two cousins, and Jesse Eisenberg plays one of them. Plays them like Jesse Eisenberg usually plays all the roles. He's very neurotic, very cautious, but he has a good heart. On the other end, we got Kieran Culkin, who is winning every award and will probably win the Oscar for this movie, as the neurotic cousin also as well. But he's a little more wrapped up in confidence. So, like, he's the type of person who can walk into a room and he can own that room. He can be friendly, charismatic, but then at the same time, he can also be a vacuum of emotion, a vacuum of joy and feelings. Another minute. He's bipolar. I thought the performance was very good. Culkin has been in this game since he was a child. You remember him drinking that Diet Coke in Home Alone. So obviously he has the gravitas on top of like winning the awards for Succession, which I have not seen yet. I will be happy when he wins. I'm not really going to go into who I pick. That's another video, another article. But overall, I thought this movie was very touching. It was very real. It's very short. It's 90 minutes. 90 minutes goes by very, very fast. And I thought Jesse Eisenberg did a very good job in all areas. The screenplay is also nominated for Best Screenplay. It is funny. It is full of funny lines, heartwarming moments, heartbreaking moments. And overall, I'm going to give this one 4.5 out of 5 Kieran Culkin hairpieces. Another actor who also doubles as a director in his own film is Dev Patel. And he brought us Monkey Man last year, a movie I missed in the theaters, and I was very eager to watch. I like Dev Patel. 3 years ago, he was in The Green Knight, which I thought was one of the best movies of the year, mainly due to him. He's a great performer. I love him in Slumdog Millionaire, Lion, and just, he has the thing of like, if he's in a movie, I'm going to watch it, and I'm probably going to like it. I don't think I've hated anything that he's in. But this time he directs. And this movie was sold kind of like a John Wick clone. And there is pretty decent action in this movie. And Dev Patel does a hell of a job as an actor and also a better job as a director, basically setting up all these fights and, working with a stunt choreographer. And I really liked it. But I also liked how he basically integrated his Indian culture into the movie. It gives the movie a little more depth in the Wick film. There is a section of this movie where the Monkey Man, who is a man for people, who fights for what's right within the ring and outside of it, he goes and gets in touch with the culture and the spirituality of his land. And I really loved what Dev Patel did there. The violence was great too, but the violence is basically, gonna generate feelings of like joy and happiness. It's always fun to see a guy kick the shit out of people. But it was that stuff that was very spiritual that I really, really liked. Overall, I'm very excited to see what he does next. Maybe he goes into another genre. Maybe he stays here. Either way, very strong outing. And I'm going to give this one 4.5 out of 5 Uncle Dev hairpieces. While Akasha Stevenson isn't an actor, she is a director. And she brings a lot to The First Omen. Listen, she is working with a property that has been done to death. Fortunately for her, she has a sharp eye. And she has a really keen sense of very frightening visuals. And with IP like this, you kind of need it. Because with IP like this, you can predict what's coming next. You've seen thousands of these movies. Movies like this get released, 2 or 3 types of movies like this get released a year. I'll probably review another one down the list. Anyway, I appreciated how the film kept me surprised and engaged through these frightening visuals. And there's also a really good lead performance by actress Nell Tiger Free, who plays the nun who is thrust into this world of evil. All in all, I think Stevenson did the impossible by bringing kind of a new feeling, fresh feeling to a very tired property. It doesn't change the game. It's still a Nolan movie. It's still, it still follows a certain path, but there are little, side steps that Stevenson does very well. And I'm very, very, very eager to see which he does next. And I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5. Our caution Stevenson hairpieces. I don't think anything's going to measure up as far as weirdness, um, overall uncomfortable nature of a film like Abruptio. Even me giving you the most detailed description of what this thing is wouldn't really fully visualize what it actually is. In short, we are presented with a story of a man, a normal, simple man, who is thrown into a scenario that would make the Saw films look like a kindergarten play. Very, this thing gets weird, and the hook for this thing, and something I really appreciate in film, is the puppetry. Some of these puppets are made to look really goofy, and it's still kind of weird when they get killed because they look human, but some of these things look like very cartoony, even though they're supposed to look human. While other times, some of these puppets look very realistic, especially if the lighting is done right and the cinematography, both those things work in sync. It works, and it's really disturbing. It's very violent. It's very weird. It's maybe like a Cronenberg or Lynch movie combined together with like more violence sprinkled upon it. 85% of you will not make it, I think, through the first 20 minutes because you are presented with enough evidence to see if you are able to stomach what you are going to see within those first 20 minutes. But if you stick with it, and I mean, you gotta love film to stick with this movie. You're going to be presented with something weird, something vile, but also something very interesting the way it's done. And I really appreciated it. I recommended this movie to the guys on the site during one of the podcasts, and I'm going to recommend it to you, the viewer. I'm also going to recommend it to all the guys at the website. Please check this out. It may turn you off, but you'll appreciate the artistry at hand. I am going to give this one 3 out of 5 fucked up puppet hairpieces. Small time horror can go anyway. When I was going to turn on Sting, which is on Hulu, and was in some theaters back in April, I was kind of looking forward to maybe this is going to be a small time horror movie that I could tell my friends about. Oh, this is great. This is cool. You got to check this out. It kind of went under the radar, but unfortunately it doesn't. Outside of the father and daughter character, who kind of give a little emotional stability to the movie, this thing lacks tension. It's boring. It doesn't hold your interest. The last 20 minutes of the film, which is kind of like the final confrontation, that is when the movie comes alive. Weta, the makeup department, and basically they create all the creatures for Lord of the Rings. They did the spider. Spider looks great. But when you're not attached to anything, when the story sucks, when the characters outside the father and daughter suck and are terribly written, not well acted, when all that stuff doesn't work, as a viewer, I feel that you're not going to hook your audience. You are going to bore them. And everything that happens to those characters outside the two I keep mentioning, you're not really going to care about. Okay, it's just the body. And even for a horror standard, these people are not really written that well. And the movie just lacks tension. I was kind of waiting for something to happen up until that last 20 minutes. Nothing really did happen that wasn't really predictable or I could see a mile away. Not a good movie. I don't think really anyone saw it, and I'm going to give this one 2 out of 5 Spidey hair pieces. Bette Midler, Megan Mullally, Susan Sarandon, and Cheryl Lee Ralph star in The Fabulous Four. And Cheryl Lee Ralph is like kind of the less famous of these four. She's good in this movie. She does what she has to do. But if you have the other three, Megan Mullally was the queen of NBC late night, NBC Thursday night comedy with Will and Grace. And of course, I really don't have to talk about the impact of Susan Sarandon and Bette Midler. If you have you have these three people, and plus the other actress, Ralph, who is very good, you have a group like this, and you want to make a romantic comedy. I think you're gonna want to try. I think you're gonna want to try to generate something or conceive something that is worthwhile. But this movie does not do that. The Fabulous Four does not do that at all. Um, it's lazy. It's stupid. I mean, it looks nice, and some of the performances are okay, but the central conflict is dumb. The overall thing is it's a movie that I could see like my cousin who's like in her 50s and her friends going out drinking wine and seeing this movie, not caring about the quality, just caring about that Susan Sarandon and Ben Miller are on screen no matter how shitty the conflict and the character development here are. And I know, again, just like Sting, I'm not looking for anything deep, but it's got to make sense, and you got to have enough evidence for Bette Miller to basically sell that conflict. And what we're presented here, like, the person who is supposed to be the bad guy is really not the bad guy or the bad woman. Shitty writing, irritating, nails on a chalkboard. I really did not like this movie. I didn't hate it, but it's something I'm probably never going to watch again. Maybe it appears on the list, maybe pretty low at number 10, something that just is fluff, but it's terribly done fluff. Either way, I'm giving this one and a half out of five Ben Miller hair pieces. So, what is the worst movie I saw out of the seven that I watched? I'm going to tell you straight away, it's Rebel Moon, The Scar Giver. When I heard Zack Snyder was teaming with Netflix and he was going to give us a multi-million-dollar epic, a space epic, that was inspired by Star Wars and Dune, I was interested. Because with Zack Snyder, it either goes two ways. He gives us something decent that's nice to look at, or he gives us something incredibly stupid that basically he leans into all his bad qualities, and all those bad qualities are here. The script is terrible, the performances are bad, the action is dumb, the slow motion is so overdone. And mind you, this is part two. Part one came out last year, so obviously I'm not going to review that for this year's list. But part one, I kind of like the first hour, but then it just basically sinks like a rock, and everything that Zack Snyder does that is irritating comes out in that last like hour, because I believe it was like an hour, 2 hour movie, maybe a little longer, 2 hours and 10. But anyway, everything came out in that last part of that movie. With this movie, from the get go, it's Zack Snyder. It's Zack Snyder. It's Zack Snyder bullshit. It's such a bad movie. The romantic chemistry between the two leads is non-existent. I did not buy it at all. I did not buy it one bit. And if you're gonna try to sell it that hard, you gotta have actors who can basically mesh well together. These two don't. Also, we spend like 10 to 15 minutes watching people harvest wheat. And I don't know, yeah, it's green screened, it looks epic, but there is nothing behind it. It feels so artificial. I'm not even talking about the influence from the writing and the directing. I'm just talking about the effects in general. It just, there's nothing, there's no soul to it. It is everything that CGI effects can cover and basically distract you from everything that is crappy. And that is what this movie is. It is crappy. Calling this a tribute to Star Wars and Dune is an insult to both those properties. And I heard this an extended cut, and hell no, I'm not doing it. Logan, Henry, Bob, Niall, maybe you can do it. I'm not going near that thing. I don't think I would survive it. I don't shut off movies, but I think if I did watch the director's cut of this, it would be an endurance test, and it would be, oh, this is the movie that's going to break them. It's all headache inducing. It's stupid. It's loud. It is possibly going to be up there. I'm not going to say it's going to be number one, but I got a lot of things to still watch, but it's going to be pretty high up on the worst list for 2024. So I'm just warning you now. You can come back to this video and say, oh my God, he said it all the way back in February that, wow, it is number one or two or three. Either way, the movie sucks, and I'm giving this one no hair pieces. This movie doesn't deserve even like a single piece of hair in its head. I hated it. All right, that wraps it up for today. The next few videos, maybe two videos, I'm going to cover five movies for Black History Month, starring Black actors, directed by a Black director, just anything with Black influence. I'm looking forward to it. I'm almost done with it. Two of those movies are nominated for Best Picture, so tune in to see which ones I'm talking about, and to have my listen to my feelings, what I thought of them. Either way, thanks for tuning in, guys. I love doing this. I love talking film with you guys. It's my nerdy side coming out in the extreme. Come to the website, Cinephellas.com. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube, and watch us talk film. We love it. We talk film, TV, and video games. Either way, thanks for watching again. And as we say, I am Kevin Muller, and cheers.